Hello and welcome everyone to the Effective Messaging for STEM Outreach webinar. This webinar will be presented by me, Niyati Raval, and Bhumika Sood. From this webinar, Effective Messaging for STEM Outreach webinar. This webinar will be presented by me. Hello and welcome everyone to the Effective Messaging for STEM Outreach webinar. This webinar will be presented by me, Niyati Raval, and Bhumika Sood. Webinar, you will be able to make an impact and influence the lives of others by sharing your message. You will be able to effectively engage your audience and get your message heard by others.
So in this webinar, we will be sharing some insightful topics with you. And first of all is planning the experience. So this program is highly dependent on what content you come up with to engage the students in order to have the best impact regarding diversity. Therefore, preparation and planning plays a huge role in order to have the best experience and to make the most out of it. Second is messaging. Being very careful with how and what you present to the classroom is very essential as it will affect the kids. And spreading the message about diversity and inclusiveness in the most innovative and effective way is what we want to achieve. Thirdly, we will cover some valuable tips for you as you volunteer for when you start the program. And fourthly, your impact. How you impact the kids can depend upon how you talk about STEM and your experiences. So we'll talk more about these topics in the upcoming slides.
So let's look behind the scenes of the SOE program before we start. These are the 4 people involved. So it's Erica Lee Garcia, Rebecca White, Bhumika Sood, and Niyati Raval. So Bhumika and I are both professional programs interns for the summer.
So planning. Planning gives you the opportunity to embed diversity into the event at a high level. Planning and thoroughly preparing using different tools will help you give the best presentation. And one of the most important themes that we are focused on increasing is diversity and inclusivity in the STEM career. And to further achieve this, we have found a helpful tool for you. You may research about this and also use it, and it is the Inclusivity Lens. And you can use it to plan and manage your event thoroughly so that once you go into the classroom, what you prepare to teach or present will run smoothly and will also result in a more cohesive event. And if you have everything carefully thought out, you will know exactly how to engage your audience and sort of consider the overall theme or feel that you want to have or how you can incorporate that into all the touch points for the attendees.
So let's take a look at some Inclusion Lens questions. So the Inclusion Lens is an event management tool which was designed by York University in order to engage all people in all events. And so these are some of the questions that were taken from the Inclusion Lens. The first one is, have you thought about other barriers to a participant participation and sought ways to address them? And have you considered adding inclusive commitments and statements to your agenda? So you can ensure your event is inclusive by answering those questions. Now, not all of the Inclusion Lens questions can directly relate to your outreach event, and in this case, our outreach event is school visits. And therefore, you can also adapt the questions. So I adapted 2 of the questions from the Inclusion Lens and changed it in a way so that we can relate it to the SOE program. So the questions are, have you thought about how to incorporate diversity into your lesson plan or activity? And have you thought to how you will evaluate the effectiveness of your messaging? So these are just some ways that you can use in order to ensure inclusivity is achieved throughout the event. So while you are planning lessons or presentations for the kids, you can use these questions to see if you have done a good job at including everyone. You can also use the questions to reflect on your event afterwards. So you can take a look back at the things that made the classroom visit successful, such as interactions, or maybe not so successful. This can allow you to improve upon yourself and make the next classroom visit more inclusive. Now, it is not necessary to use the lens, but it is a great tool you can use to ensure your message is received by everyone and everyone feels included and respected throughout your visit to the class.
So what we do is, first of all, you should consider who and what your audience will be. And if you know how to target your audience, then presenting will be more effective. Also, other important things to consider while planning is the location or setting. So for example, here, You will be in a classroom setting, and planning out how you can make the most out of that using different resources is also a key point in planning. And while planning, make sure that you are to the point and give weightage to the important messages that you are trying to spread. And also note that keeping things simple and low tech is not a bad thing. So, for example, our team at EOT participated in a Go North event where we had a button making booth. There were other booths around us too, such as a Google virtual reality booth, gaming booth, etc. But we still had tons and tons of kids flocking to us due to the appeal and simplicity of our activity. We were promoting engineering through demonstrating that engineers make things, and we explained the process of making a button. Another activity was about food technology, and we demonstrated how to filter out impurities from grain, and we made wheat. And from both of these activities, we conveyed the main key points of our activity as we had thoroughly planned it.
So now we're going to take a look at messaging. So we want to achieve impact with messaging strategy. We also want to leverage evidence-based methods and promote and cultivate outreach and innovation. So how can we talk about STEM and trades differently to kids in innovative ways? Well, we can use more evidence-based methods in order to get them more interested or get them to start thinking about your message. Think about different ways that you can spread your message in innovative ways and in ways that can get kids more engaged. That's something we really need to start thinking about in order to get kids to understand their message. We also need more diversity in STEM professions, but why do we need it? What's the importance? We have complex challenges, and having the same brains working on the same things will not help us find a solution. Take some time to stop and think about this, and when you can connect and understand why we need diversity in STEM and trades professions, then when you go to talk to the kids about it, it will be more powerful. We talked about some of these reasons in our previous webinar, and we would love if you could check it out on our YouTube channel. So that's why we need all of you to look beyond diversity and into why it matters. Another thing that we want to do with messaging is we want to use a whole systems lens. So, well, what does this mean? What is a whole systems lens? So in order to use a whole systems lens, we want to integrate this wherever we can, where the overlap with the work that's happening in social sciences, with work that's happening in social sciences, we want to incorporate that into STEM and trades professions and STEM and trades works as well. How can we work together and have a broad view rather than this narrow view of what affects the world? When it comes to messaging, it's not just about messaging for underrepresented groups, such as girls or minorities, but also for people who think differently as well. Kids interested in writing, journalism, doctoring, etc. can be impacted by your messaging about the STEM and trades profession as well. They may have an interest in the STEM and trades fields, but may not want to be a part of it in the future, but rather aid in its efforts in some other profession through a different field or different medium. Having teams or groups of different people and ideas and can deliver great results, and we should focus on including those individuals in our messaging as well. So for example, recently there's been a big push on coding and that kids need to code. There have been a lot of initiatives about coding for kids, and there are a lot of clubs in schools which involve coding as well as a sort of a STEM club. And so when you think about this, if you push everyone to become a coder, then there's going to be way too many coders in the future, and this can cause big problems. So what we want to do with our whole systems approach is we want to be able to present them an activity that can incorporate different sort of jobs in different fields and not just one specific field. So when we're looking at food technology, which was an activity that we did at the Go North event, which was of the wheat, we got kids to make wheat from grains and get rid of the impurities as well by using different technologies from throughout the years. And as technology progressed, it became easier to make wheat. In order to view the activity from a whole systems lens, you can talk about the importance of technology in the wheat industry and its impact on other industries and how other people were affected by it. Other professions, other individuals, not just people in STEM and in trades professions, etc.
So these are 4 core messaging strategies. STEM and trade solutions to 21st century challenges require a diverse set of thinkers, and there is a place for you in STEM. STEM and trades shapes the world around us, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. STEM and trades applies creativity and imagination to turn ideas into reality. And STEM and trades is essential to safety, health, happiness, comfort, and efficiency of our friends, family, and distant neighbors. Locally and globally, people working for people. STEM professionals make a world of difference. And being aware of these messages will influence the way you do outreach. Try to get kids engaged by encouraging them to be creative and innovative and relating that and saying that STEM and trades professionals also do the same. An activity where we applied all of these strategies is, so one of our activities at Go North was making a marble maze. We provided students with marbles, clay, tubes, straws, etc., and allowed the kids to brainstorm and make anything that they can think of. And they were given full freedom to be as creative as they could be. We had both girls and boys involved in this activity, and in a way promoted diversity and inclusiveness as we didn't specify who or what this activity was for. And using the tools provided when the kids were able to make something that the marbles could travel in, we explained to them that they demonstrated what a STEM and trades professional does. They shape the world around us. And the kids were able to achieve this through their own creativity and strong imagination.
So how can we plan for an effective outreach? And there is a three-step process that I'm going to be talking about. So currently, there is a disconnect that exists between STEM outreach inputs such as activities, presentations, workshops, etc., and the output of the actual messages delivered to the target audience. STEM messages are often ignored in favor of time spent on the input, and this can lead to inconsistent and ineffective messaging across activities. So just to give an example of the food technology example that we've already talked about. So the activity was basically creating wheat from grains through the use of different technologies throughout the years. That was our activity. And then our message for that was we wanted kids to understand that STEM fields and like engineering fields and etc. are not just about computers and coding. There's technology that isn't just tech related or just computers and etc. When you think of technology, you can think of food technologies as well, machines. So we wanted to reveal a message that STEM fields is not just about computers, it's even broader than that, and there's something for everyone in it. And then our impact, so in this case, our impact is the most effective messages delivered to the audience. And this is something that you can measure by how the kids react to you or how they feel about the activity. And we got a lot of positive feedback from the event. A lot of the kids were engaged with what we had, even more so than the people who were using video games and like coding and like that type of stuff. The kids were also more interested in our booth and what we had to show them with food technology. And that was sort of the impact that we had on the kids and why we think our message was positively received at the time. And that's something that we want everyone to do with their own outreach events when they visit the classes. So when you start off with an activity, think about the message that you want to tell the kids or you want to reveal as a result of the activity, and then find ways to see if the kids are actually understanding your message and if they actually understand what you're trying to say, etc.
So here are some volunteer tips. So focus more on the story or message rather than on the activity itself. So as we said before, even if the activity is simple and low tech, if it is able to get the key message across, then we are one step closer to achieving our goal. Also, doing this program might feel uncomfortable, but it's okay, it's normal. For most people, this will be the first time you enter into a classroom to present, and you may feel out of place as you are not experienced in this situation. But we want you to know that it is completely normal, and most people do find it hard to adjust. And a great tip in order to overcome this would be to prepare and get to know the teacher ahead of time. The teacher can help you understand your role in the classroom and will give you a good idea of what you can expect. And also you can connect with participants by telling your STEM story, and a great way to start your presentation and to sort of introduce yourself is by telling your STEM story. And for more information about this, be sure to check out our webinar, which is called Telling Your STEM Story, which has been uploaded to our YouTube channel, Engineers of Tomorrow. Also, don't forget to check in with us after events. If you ever have any questions, doubts, or even achievements that you would like to share with us, don't hesitate to connect with us. We will help you out and provide you with any resources that you may need. And sometimes this is where the most learnings and the ahas happen.
So what we do. So we have some resources to help you throughout your journey in the SOE program. So we have our SOE webinar series, and we have 3 of them already uploaded onto YouTube. Bhumika already told one of them, which was sharing your STEM story, and the other ones we have is Intro to the SOE program, and also Diverse and Inclusive Messaging. We suggest that you take a look at some of these before you go into your classroom, just so you can understand what the program is and incorporate different messages into your activities. So it's smoother when you start actually doing the classroom visits. You can also contact us to find out about more of our resources if you want to as well.
So our impact. It's hard to predict how your presentation will affect the kids, but some important things to consider are that you tried your best and celebrated. Treat it as a win and spread the word about the program. Share your experience and any helpful tips that you discovered while doing the program, and any tips that you may think help future volunteers. And you can always tweet out fun quotes that you overhear from the kids.
So what do we do? So we do embedded participant surveys into our events. So we do it to collect data. It provides us qualitative examples of impact, and also we learn about what we can do better in this case. We might not be doing this with the SOE program. We'll keep you updated on whether or not we'll be doing the participant surveys, but for now we're not sure. Also, we do debriefs with the team after an event. Do it while it's fresh in everyone's minds. Keep it simple with whiteboard notes and snap a photo if necessary.
So this is one of our examples of impact from one of our Procter and Gamble activities, and this is a wordle of feedback that we gained through one of our surveys. So we recorded what the kids' experience about the activity was, and one cool thing about this is that every word that the kids said more than once became bigger, and as you can see, many kids gave the feedback that the activity was fun or interesting, exciting, etc.
So thank you for attending our webinar. You can connect with us on social media, on Facebook at Engineers of Tomorrow, on LinkedIn at Engineers of Tomorrow, and on Twitter at EOTEWB. Subscribe to our monthly newsletter, and also check out our YouTube channel, Engineers of Tomorrow, where you can check out other webinars and other resources as well. Thank you once again for attending, and we hope you all have a great day. Bye.